The Shake 3 are back in the hot seats. I'm really happy to see that LinkedIn's having its moment.
Anybody can do this. You don't need huge budgets to make this happen. Just put your people in front, find the right personalities.
Playing it safe, being boring, potentially could lead to the death of your brand.
If you're the CEO of Apple, anything you want to do, you can do. Every podcast will have you on, every news publication will have you on.
Imagine being a robber, you get caught, somebody asks you, why are you robbing a bank? Why do you think? There's money there.
Okay, we're back. What just happened? Episode 4, and normal service has resumed. I'm back in the hot seat. Maybe not as insightful as our previous guest, Andy, but don't worry. We have Danny Markovits.
I'm back.
He's back.
I'm not Andy. I'm back. Andy, I think, became our best performing episode so far. Not surprised. Shout out to Andy, but the whole crew is back.
Absolutely. The Shake 3 are back in the hot seats, which is fantastic because, Danny, you've had so much time to recoup your energy and come with all the insight and everything for this episode. So Harry and I are going to sit back, relax, and it's going to be the Danny Show.
Like we do on The Office every day.
Well, it's just the Danny Show.
Normal day.
Shake content could just be the Danny Show.
The Danny Show.
The Danny Show, yeah. Well, look, what have you got for us, Danny?
What do I have? I have a few things that are top of mind that I think just happened in the last few weeks. One, that it's going to be sort of an unpopular opinion or a take that I think it's quite non-obvious, which is, I think LinkedIn is finally having its culture moment. What does that mean? For the longest time, and there's a famous quote that it always stood with me, which is, if you want to find out about something, go to Reddit. If you want to find out about something late, go to LinkedIn. Which I think it's a good jab on LinkedIn, which I think it's quite fair. But for the last few weeks, and I'll share a few examples, I'm feeling that's changing. For the longest time, again, everything happened downstream on LinkedIn, meaning it arrived later, it was a replication of other platforms. The creators that were sharing content on LinkedIn was repurposing or just reusing their TikTok content. And now I think finally, slowly, brands, creators, companies are thinking LinkedIn first, are actually thinking about what's unique to the platform. And 3 examples come to mind that I just saw in the last few days. One, Netflix shared a trailer about a new movie with J-Lo, friend of the pod, called, granted that movie is called Office Romance, so it's quite, I guess, relevant to LinkedIn. But I think their trailer on LinkedIn was unique to LinkedIn. So that's really cool, meaning culture is happening, there's things happening on LinkedIn. Second, closer to me, in my world, this NBA player called Spencer Jones. Not the biggest player, but he's really big on LinkedIn. He is recognized as a LinkedIn first athlete, one of the few ones that, again, we've been speaking on the pod. And yesterday, actually, and this was filmed on the 30th of April, he had his best day ever on the playoffs. I don't want to get too much into the basketball, but one of the questions he got on the press conference was, hey, congrats, you broke all the records. Are you going to update this on your LinkedIn profile? Meaning, cool moment, that journalist acknowledged that he's on LinkedIn, that like LinkedIn is very much a thing. So I think that was cool. He kind of laughed and said like, yeah, whatever. But I thought that was a cool cultural moment that didn't happen before.
And we got the clip here.
Is a career high postseason performance potentially worthy of a LinkedIn post?
We'll see. I got some ideas circulating in my head, but I got 2 days before the next game, so I got some time. You guys can wait on your heels for that one.
And more importantly as well, the NBA official LinkedIn account shared this moment as well on LinkedIn. And the last example, which I think is also happening more, there's more scripted, exclusive shows on LinkedIn. There's more parody. We spoke about that, but one that I saw this week was from Ken Chung, which you can see the profile here, one of our favorite creators. He's a comedian.
Maybe soon to be friend of the pod.
Soon to be friend of the pod. Ken, we would love to have you here. He's one of the funniest, real, actual funny content.
100%.
Straight up unhinged.
Unhinged, he's not attached to any company, so he has the luxury to be unhinged, and people want to see that. And he just released a series only on LinkedIn. So shit is happening on LinkedIn. There's much more nuance, much more culture. and other platforms are starting finally going to take things from LinkedIn and the other way around, basically. So that's my hot take, and I'm super happy for it.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. I think the biggest takeaway is that Shake content is leading the way. We release
Culture.
a LinkedIn podcast on LinkedIn, and suddenly we're seeing native videos, native series, film promotions. Like, when did Hollywood come to LinkedIn, right? Like, that's crazy to see that change. But maybe because we're so used to seeing it on other platforms, you kind of just don't even notice that that's happened. But obviously, we have a quite close eye on what's going on the platform. But it is exciting. I'm really happy to see that LinkedIn's having its moment. We really care about the sporting space. I feel like I'm seeing an NBA reference like every day on my feed at the moment. I'm a big fan of basketball, big fan of the NBA. But yeah, super cool to see that happening. And I think a couple of the NFL players sort of when they were going through the draft process, sort of boosting their profile. I mean, who knows where this could go, being not just a commercial asset on the pitch, commercial asset off the pitch with merchandise, sponsorship, events, etc., but also their online presence, not just on your maybe, let's say, standard platforms that they might be on, the Instagrams, etc., but actually having a presence on LinkedIn. We've gone into before about their short careers and what that might support them in long term.
But it's definitely a part of it.
Super exciting.
And for me, this was definitely non-obvious. The last thing that people would expect from LinkedIn is kind of cool culture. Things are happening. People are finding about things first on LinkedIn. And I think it's a combination of things that have been compounding.
This episode is brought to you by Bucci, a hard kombucha drink made here in the UK. Has all natural ingredients and live cultures. Comes in 3 flavors: pear and elderflower, ginger and lemon, and my personal favorite, wild berries. You can jump over to drinkbucci.com, which is drinkbuci.com, to get yourself some hard kombucha. Now back to the episode.
And even LinkedIn officially as a company has been leaning more into fun, into cool, into funny, even with their own ads I've seen on YouTube. They're leaning into the sports quite a lot, so glad to hear that we were early on that prediction. And yeah, I think it's very early innings on this cultural phenomena.
Yeah, LinkedIn have been really intentional about it. They've spoken publicly about how they're trying to bring more sports people onto the platform. And I was watching a video from the new CEO of LinkedIn this morning, I think actually, where he directly referenced kind of bringing personalities and comedy and entertainment onto LinkedIn. And I think he was talking about Corporate Natalie.
Always referenced in these conversations.
Loves getting referenced by the senior team at LinkedIn. So obviously like a really intentional move from them, but clearly working. And
not to be missed there, congratulations to Dan Shapiro for being the new CEO
friend
of LinkedIn.
Of the pod.
Yeah,
friend of the pod. He's welcome on any time. But again, you see, no Dan. Pretty obvious that we saw a lot of Dan over the last week or so. But it's exciting. We're seeing.
I'm excited.
I mean, Wiz Khalifa is making appearances on LinkedIn through Wiz. There's a few other examples, right, as well, of these big celebrities
and
being ever present.
Connected to B2B becoming cooler as well. I don't think that's a LinkedIn specific trend, but I think it's very much connected. B2B has always been associated with LinkedIn.
And being boring.
And companies are finally understanding that in order to stand out, you have to be more unhinged, more fun, more entertaining. Even if you're selling the most boring / traditional products, you want to catch people's attention. So Legora hiring Jude Law as the face of their last campaign, Harvey with the guy from Suits.
Gabriel Max,
And I'm all here for that, those developments.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so we've talked about culture shift on LinkedIn. Danny, come on, you spent half a decade at LinkedIn, and we've obviously spent a fair chunk of time working with some pretty cool and awesome clients, if we say so, Shake Content. What are the learnings? What are the learnings here? What can, I don't want to say your everyday brand, but what's the brand that doesn't have Jude Law budgets? What can they do? What can they take away from this?
Yeah, I would say, and I just also realized the framing, that even if what you're selling, you don't need to make what you're selling entertaining. If that's not possible, if you're selling cybersecurity, compliance, make your people more interesting. I think that's the biggest shift, and everybody can do that. And that's what's happening, and that's what we've been preaching for a while. Personality-led marketing, founder-led marketing. everybody can add some personality, some sauce, some punch to the mix, and that's what I think these companies are doing. Wiz, prime example, they killed their marketing. That no wonder Google paid record, I guess, numbers. But yeah, they understood this very fast, and they made their people, their marketing fun. So that's what something anybody can do this. You don't need huge budgets to make this happen. Just put your people in front, find the right personalities, find the right spin, and yeah, at the end of the day, your vendors, your clients, they wanna be entertained as well. And that sounds obvious, but at least it took me a while to connect the dots.
For me, it's so clear. You cannot be boring in B2B anymore. You have to look to stand out. Playing it safe is gone. You can't just play it safe anymore. Those traditional marketing routes, they still exist, but playing it safe, being boring, potentially could lead to the death of your brand. I mean, that's a bit dramatic, but I think in reality, you have to give your employees the freedom to go out and produce some content, which is a bit fun, bit interesting. Frankly, the more boring, the more niche the product is, kind of the more fun you can have with it. Because it's just like, we all know accounting software. It's really boring. It's not interesting.
Look what Ramp did with the Super Bowl and the guy from The Office, and
Yeah.
and they're one of the coolest brands in my head. So I agree with you. I think before that, at least in their lens, the biggest risk was trying to stand out. Now I think the biggest risk is not sharing stuff, is not putting yourself out there. So I think it's completely changing in a very fast.
You didn't know I was going to say that, and you named an accounting software off the top of your head. Like, okay.
And I've never used it.
Let's see if we can get, your knowledge of accounting software tools up to 5 or 10. You just won't be able to do it.
No.
If you were buying accounting software,
Ramp.
it would be, that would be number one, right? And then, somebody in the organization, if you were going to go buy an accounting software, if that was your job, they would say, please come back with a couple more options. But we actually talked about this with Andy on the last podcast, right?
Say, yeah.
It's literally the same thing, which is you will then come with 3 choices, but there's one that is the one you actually want to purchase. And that power has happened because you digest the content on LinkedIn and other social medias.
Spot on.
Let's talk about who else is having a bit of a moment.
Who else is having a bit of a moment? CFOs are having a bit of a moment. There was a big article moving around from Industry Dive, I believe, about CFOs finally having their LinkedIn moment. There's some great numbers there. Year by year creation increasing by 38%. But my experience, and then I would love to hear your guys' thoughts, is that while at LinkedIn, we always try to engage with CFOs, and it was probably the hardest C-suite role to try to get them to engage. So I think this is a huge signal. If CFOs are finally active, which, I don't want to put everybody in the same box, but CFOs have their own personality. They're usually more behind the scenes. They're more numbers. They that's not their traditional role. But now they understand that's what's needed. Besides the earnings call, the people want to hear from them. And I'm not surprised. And it's a huge win for LinkedIn. And I think it's an important moment.
I mean, for sure, LinkedIn loves numbers. They do. We talk about this with our clients all the time, trying to bring in facts and figures to back up posts and to back up pieces of content alongside opinions and a unique thought. It really helps to have some data points, and CFOs have the most data points because you sent the article around the team chat, and I was reading the article and it says US-based finance chiefs posted 38% more video content, so not just content in general, 38% more video content on LinkedIn in 2025 than the year earlier, while engagement with CFO content rose 15% according to data from LinkedIn. I actually have a few sort of points of reference here, which I really sort of made me go down that rabbit hole from this article. And I was digesting the year in review from Salesforce Ventures, and their head of finance, CFO Sarah Brown, was presenting sort of the data that she brought to the year in review. I think she was the author of that report, and she absolutely smashes it. She smashes it on video, and it just comes across really coherently. You can tell she knows the numbers. Yeah. And it's great. I want to see more of that. And in the reference in this article, you had Walmart, PayPal, Coca-Cola, OpenAI, Anthropic, CFOs all posting content, and I think it's then the question of what content. Like, what content should these CFOs be posting? I think the ones referenced were very much, end of, because we're in April now, end of year results or end of financial year results, sort of presenting those numbers. And I'm sure the CEO probably would maybe summarize those. But all of these, CFOs for these organizations, big logos, sure, are talking about really detailed sort of data and numbers and financial growth.
It's only getting started.
Yeah.
There's also a quote that maybe you can find it there that I really liked, that it was kind of like a funny quote about this famous robber.
The famous bank robber. Willie Sutton. So when asked why he robbed banks, he responds, well, because that's where the money is. And I think that the reason you like that sort of quote is it's true.
Yeah, imagine being a robber, you get caught, the police, somebody asks you, why are you robbing a bank? Like, why do you think? There's money there. So I thought it was spot on. And yeah, CFOs, maybe they like to create content, maybe they don't, but at the end of the day, now you have to. That's where the money is. That's where your clients are. That's where your partners are. And they want to hear from you. So I thought that was a great quote from
Willie
them.
Sutton. Yeah, I love it.
There's also a wider trend around like the sexiness of these kind of historically like more back office roles. You're obviously seeing it with CFOs we're talking about now, but you're also seeing it with things like engineers. That we spoke around pods previously about the engineers at Lovable posting regularly on LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
There's something about the fact that engineers like to hear from other engineers. Finance people like to hear from other finance people. These roles were previously kind of either intentionally or not kept away from a lot of marketing, a lot of sales activity. Like sales was kind of the sexy side of the business, the bit like, oh, you put your salespeople, front and center. And actually now people have sort of wisened up to the fact that, well, salespeople, fine, will still do their thing. But actually, if you're interested in engineering, you want to hear from another engineer. You don't want to hear a salesperson tell you about your subject area. You want to hear from somebody you know has been there, done that, got the T-shirt, and then that's the real benefit.
You connect more. If you're a CFO, you're like, hey, you're a CFO as well. And at the end of the day, who has the budgets? Who signs the ultimate? It's the CFOs. So
we've got this example so many times, right? At Shake, like I remember a post that Danny yourself wrote and published on LinkedIn. Then it got shared by a communications director based in New York, which then led to us getting in the room with a San Francisco-based prospect for us, which they had seen a fellow communications director on LinkedIn share a post, which then they enjoyed that content of yours, which then led to a potential sale for us. So yeah, 100%. Finance people like to look at finance people, like operations like to learn off operations. At the end of the day, anyone of seniority doesn't think they have all the answers. They are looking to other peers in their space to learn off. And I also think there is less of a back and front or this function or that function than there's ever been, especially in these scale-up startups or scale-ups or sort of high-growth businesses. There's less of a differentiation between sales, marketing. Yeah. Okay, fine. Finance is quite a specialist role, but there is still a bit of well, just because you're in finance, you're still expected to sort of support in any other way that you can. And in this case, putting some content online.
I think actually, there's a nice transition here, which is onto, I think, my clanger of the week, which is maybe the other side of this same coin. And clanger of the week this week goes to anyone who posted on LinkedIn about the new Apple CEO coming in. Posts of people talking sincerely about their new incoming CEO of Apple doesn't have a banner on his LinkedIn profile. He needs to improve his personal brand. And you're like, no, he doesn't. Like, not really. If you're the CEO of Apple, anything you want to do, you can do. Every podcast will have you on. Every news publication will have you on. Everything you want to do, you can. You're too big and important to not. I don't think the fact you don't have a LinkedIn banner or your LinkedIn page is not optimized for sales is going to really influence the market cap of Apple. So that's my clanger of the week.
It's a great clanger of the week, and I really hope that he had thousands of LinkedIn banner creators in his DMs saying, do you want my services? I can design you a really good LinkedIn banner because
Hey, sir.
yeah, please buy my services.
Yeah.
Of course, if he wants to start his LinkedIn presence, come on the pod.
Shade Content is here for you and
Will.
the entire Apple leadership team.
100%.
Let's talk about something Apple are famous for, which is their UX, but not specific to Apple. We can play a game of Spot the Difference. Danny, run us through what you've been seeing on LinkedIn, because I don't. As we figured out, I don't have this reference point, but you can explain more.
One thing that we just noticed a few days ago, again, we're bringing you the latest. I think on mobile, there has been a slight UX design change around the engagement design of posts. At least on my phone, I know Harry as well. Maybe LinkedIn sometimes launches things partially to a few people. Maybe they're testing something, so this is not an official take by any means. But it did catch my attention that the engagement, again, part of the post was less visible, and we'll show it here so you guys can see that before and after. And in my take, again, this is just a subjective opinion, it showcases what is something that we've been saying for a while, that engagement is becoming less important, at least on LinkedIn. And that actually reflects the algorithm changes that we've been talking about. So before, people, the signals were only like how many likes, and that's what the algorithm was driving as well. So now you can still see the number, but it's a bit more hidden. It's not divided into likes, claps, hearts, all of those things. So I think that's a subtle change. Maybe there's something happening on the back that we are not aware of, but it has big implications, in my opinion. So definitely worth sharing or scoop here with the audience.
Yeah, it feels like a signal that LinkedIn is trying to add less weight to engagement, something that we've been talking about for a long time, exactly as you said there, is that engagement is not the be-all and end-all, and we see it with clients all the time. You'll see clients who have 15 likes on a post and it's got 3,000 impressions. You see another client who's got 50 likes on a post and it's got 800. And there's like a real variance in there that doesn't really add up. It's obviously part of this new algorithm change that everyone keeps talking about. But interesting to see LinkedIn changing the UX to reflect that as well, deprioritizing the visibility of engagement, because actually they are encouraging that same message that it's not the be-all and end-all when it comes to content. You should not be optimizing for those engagement pieces.
And this reminds me of actually very connected to this, which it really caught my attention in a good way, and I think I also did a post about this, that there was a study as well recently that the average post on LinkedIn that gets cited on LLMs, the average engagement of this post is around 15 to 25 engagements, which is quite standard, but quite low. So LLMs don't give an F about your engagement, and I think that's good.
But it's perception, right? I would love to, I'm calling you out, Danny, on that, because 15 to 20 engagements, you're saying, that's not that, that doesn't seem like that much, but there's a billion users on LinkedIn. I feel like even the three of us who take the time to consider what actually LinkedIn means and the content that's on it, like, let's not move sort of too far away from the reality that there's so many people that try their hand at posting, even if it's infrequently, and they're getting virtually no engagement. And I know that's because we see so many great pieces of content, superb, like top class, they are true industry experts content, and many of them are our clients, which maybe distract us or maybe mislead us. And that's, you made the comment, which is there's, 15, 25 engagements is quite low. But I actually consider that, I don't know what's considered low. To us, maybe, but I think for the majority, not.
Subjective. But my point being is that for the longest time in social media, like numbers are, and I'm not saying numbers are not important. Even I'm not gonna lie. Like sometimes I see my post not getting any likes, and I'm like, hey, Michelle, my wife, friend of the pod, give me a like.
I did see that she liked your post actually the other day.
She's she has to. But it's good to see things changing. I think that's what's important, and the LLM is an example. Maybe that the UX design is an example, and I think this is particular to LinkedIn. I think in other platforms it's a completely different conversation, but I think it's a positive one.
Yeah, let's talk about LLMs actually, because I think it's really relevant. And if anyone wants to support the Shake cause, support the podcast, just jump over to any LLM of your choice, type in the best LinkedIn marketing agencies in the UK, and I hope to see that we'll be right at the top
Let
of
us
that list.
know. Let us know what you get.
And let us know. Let us know. That is something we've been working on really hard at Shake Content, but also something which we talk about quite a bit on this podcast.
Yeah, you're seeing, we've spoken previously, I think it was a couple of months ago, we spoke about how LLMs were referencing LinkedIn more and we're using primarily articles.
Yeah.
But also I saw Andy Lambert, friend of the pod, talking this morning about he Googled something to do with a topic he'd posted about or an article he'd written or something. And the Google AI overview pulled from a LinkedIn post that he'd written. So that wasn't even from an article. Like, I think that's becoming more prominent that, and back to the point about the posts that are being cited and the average engagement, LLMs are looking for the same things that the new algorithms are looking for, which is this person an authority on the subject? So they're looking at your profile, seeing, what is your experience, what's your career, what is your bio, what are the talking points you have? They're looking for, are you posting consistently and regularly? Is this just like a one-off, like trying to game the system? And therefore, do you have the authority and the right to be an expert on the topic and then to be picked up within an LLM? And the algorithm's talking about that. LLMs are talking about that as well.
Yeah. LinkedIn is literally solving two problems. It's solving two problems. It's one solution. It's appearing on LLMs. It's helping you appear more on LinkedIn. Hey, look, if you've got this far in the podcast, we probably don't need to sell you on LinkedIn. But yeah, super interesting.
Super.
We've talked about UX. I want to talk a little bit about UI and aesthetics. So, Harry, you've just been to Japan. Do you want to stand up and give everyone a little twirl of your attire today?
No, I don't. Thanks for that.
Looking really good.
Cut the pod.
Looking really good. I think that's a wrap, guys. So we'll see you in episode 5. That's a wrap.
That's a wrap.